Hi guys, I'm Kendall Hoeft. I am a personal development coach and life coach. I also have a YouTube channel. You can check me out on there, and a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Kendall Hoeft. My cat is starting to play with my tripod again. Okay, so let's talk about growing up with shame. There are various ways that shame can be transmuted. A lot of this happens from growing up in a dysfunctional family. So shame, I'm sorry, I gotta show you my cat. He's too cute. He's too stinking cute. And he's not ashamed. And he's not ashamed. And he's not ashamed. Say hi, baby. I say hi, baby. Now you need to go down on the floor. You need to go down. Mommy's making a video. Good boy. So children who grow up in dysfunctional families experience this deep-rooted shame, and it's the idea that something is fundamentally wrong with me. It's this shame about who I am. So guilt is kind of a in regards to what you've done, but shame is in regards to who you are. And I'm such an advocate against shame. I'm such a stand against shame in this world. I don't believe in shame. I don't believe that we should be ashamed or embarrassed of who we are. God created us. God created us unique and beautiful and wonderfully made. So shame can be just transmitted indirectly. It can be transmitted through a parent's attitude about life. If you see your parent... He's being crazy with the pencils. He's playing with the pencils now. You gotta go down, my boy. You gotta go down, my boy. Okay, realism, guys. I had to put those colored pencils away because he was having fun. He's in a playful mood. So, if you see your parent hiding and not going out and doing things socially and just kind of staying at home and stuff or something, like you're there embarrassed about who they are, or you're at the movies and it's like, shh, keep it down. Like, don't laugh too loud. Like, they're experiencing a lot of shame inside. And so sometimes as a child, you don't know what normal is. And so you kind of follow your parents' way of thinking and their parents' perspective. And you're kind of taught indirectly that that's how I should view myself. Like, I should be afraid of people. Like, I shouldn't be too loud. Like, all of these things. So children may feel shame for their parents' problems as well. If your parent had a hidden secret or an addiction or a compulsive behavior, sometimes children can feel ashamed or feel embarrassed about that as well. That emotional enmeshment where you're kind of connected to your parent, or you're somehow feeling responsible for their behaviors. What are you doing? What are you doing? Family secrets can produce shame. I really, really, really want to touch on this because we talked about in one of the other videos on the dysfunctional family that one of the qualities is this secrecy, this hiddenness, this idea that really teaches children that something's wrong with our family and that we have to hide. And I'm a huge stand against this kind of thinking and this kind of life in our world. Dysfunctional families frequently have a secret. And this could be mom's drinking problem, it could be dad's sexual behavior, it could be some form of abuse in the home. And there's this shame of this secret and this idea that we can't tell anyone because we'll feel more shame, we'll feel more condemnation, we'll feel more embarrassment. And this is what keeps many people out of the church community. Because they feel as though they can't share, they can't be vulnerable, they can't be open because they'll be judged and they'll incur more condemnation. And unfortunately, many church people actually do offer them these shaming practices once they actually open up. Unfortunately, many in our church do judge, do condemn, do give them the very shame that they're trying to escape from. They just pile the shame on them, and it's so unhealthy. And I want to see church communities that are open, that are accepting, and that people don't feel like they have to isolate themselves, because that's exactly what happens. Is we feel we have a problem, we feel we have a secret, we don't know how to get help with it, we're not willing to be vulnerable and open and honest about our shame or our issues or our secrets, and so we isolate ourselves, which is the worst possible thing. The devil loves this lone wolf, lone islander kind of way of life and way of thinking. And I definitely struggle with that myself, because I've had a really hard time being accepted by church communities and just people in general. But I found that the more open I'm able to, we have to be open. We have to make a stand for the things that we believe in. And we actually, if we don't do that, we're sort of safe, but not really, because we're living with these secrets, and that's not safe at all. We're living with that shame, and that's extremely damaging and detrimental and deteriorating. So it's when we open ourselves, we might get some people that misunderstand, we might get some haters, we might get some judgment, but we'll also get people that are blessed and inspired and encouraged, and will actually be able to get the help and the love that we need to receive. And so it's being open and it's being vulnerable. And yes, there's great risk there. And yes, I encourage you to be careful with who you share with, and trying to be around people who are going to respect you and respect your feelings and emotions. But ultimately, this all needs to come out, and we need to be able to express it, communicate it, and hopefully resolve it and get healing in those areas. All right, so the shame of the secret. It may be something that would be accepted by friends and family and community if known. But fear is a huge thing, you guys, in controlling circumstances. It's fear that leads to control. We're afraid of being found out. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of the unknown. And so we begin to control and begin to tighten that environment. Control is an illusion. We can't actually control really anything. Neither can we be perfect. Perfection is an illusion, other than in the person of Jesus Christ. But we've got to, release that tight grip on things. It's that fear within the dysfunctional family model that exaggerates the magnitude of the problem. Children who live in a dysfunctional family are enlisted to help keep the secret. Yuck. So from a young age, these children have this emphasis in their minds that leads them to believe like something's wrong with my family. And so therefore something's wrong with me. And they already are getting these deep-rooted seeds of insecurity, low self-worth, shame in their identity. So it's just shame. And shame is has to do with who I am. So actually shame about being who I am. It tells the child, you have something to hide. Don't let people see you as you really are. Wow, guys, that is the nugget right there. It's the lie that says you have something to be ashamed of. You are shameful. You're actually your actual soul, your actual identity. And so don't let people see you as you really are. Don't express your praise for Jesus Christ freely in church by shouting, woohoo, and running down the aisles, if that's your expression. Don't express your feelings if they aren't happy and positive. And if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling hurt, if you're feeling anything that's on the more negative reality spectrum, don't be honest, because you'll be labeled a Debbie Downer and you won't be able to have friends and blah. Those are lies. Many of us believe them, and I was believing them for a long time. And this is why I'm making these videos, is because I want to activate truth and reality in our lives, guys, and I want to reject shame. I want to reject these lies that are holding us captive, because here's the truth. The truth is Romans 8:33-34. Who will bring any charge against those whom God has chosen? It is God who justifies. God redeems. Who is he that condemns? In other words, nobody has a right to condemn you, including yourself. We don't even have the right to call ourselves guilty. We don't even have the right to call ourselves unworthy, because God has called us worthy. God has called us good. Our identity is in Jesus Christ. Through Jesus Christ, I am clean in God's sight. My who is good to go. My who and my be, who I am, is based on the righteousness and the perfection of Jesus Christ. So I am holy, pure, blameless, spotless, set apart, restored, redeemed, and my sins are as far as the east is from the west. That's how far God has cast my little sin. Not that they were little, but my sins away from me. So they're not a part of me. And so I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have nothing to be ashamed of, and I sit here, really, unashamed. I am a woman unashamed. I hope that you guys feel free in your hearts, in your souls, in your minds. I hope that you don't have feelings of suppression, feelings of shame, feelings of embarrassment, lies in your head that tell you you can't be who you are, because that's a lie. Hi, Sadie. Isaiah 54:4 says, "Do not be afraid. You will not suffer shame. Do not fear disgrace. You will not be humiliated. You will forget the shame of your youth." And so if you grew up in a dysfunctional family where you were told things like you're no good, or you're just like your father, or you'll never amount to anything, can't do anything right, don't you have any sense, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. By the way, guys, don't ever freaking say that to anybody. Don't say shame on you. Do not say shame on you. Do not say you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Cut that crap out of your vocabulary. You don't want to ever put shame on someone. You don't want to ever tell someone that who they are is not okay, who they are is not enough. Now, their behaviors and their actions or their works might need some evolution or some growth there, some transformation there. But as far as who their little soul is, don't ever tell someone shame on you, even jokingly, because it's not funny. And don't ever tell someone you ought to be ashamed, because that's not a moral obligation that they feel shame. See, ought and should imply a moral obligation to do something, which is why I never really use those words. I like to say you can do this, which presents an option or a possibility, not a ought, should, moralizing comment. I'm just not into that, because that has to do with shame. And so many of us have grown up in shame factories where we were disapproved of, and we began to believe that we ourselves, who we actually are, was not worthy of approval, was not enough. And so we get on this performance treadmill, workaholism, perfectionism, high achievement, trying to strive to prove our self-worth, to prove that we're enough, because we don't believe deep down that we are full, whole, complete, perfected, righteous, holy in the person of Jesus Christ. Love this stuff, guys. So I'm gonna maybe wrap up this video here, because sometimes my videos get a little too long. And so if you're watching this on Facebook, feel free to comment below if you feel comfortable. You can also message me if you want to share about if you grew up in a dysfunctional family, if you want to share ways that your family was dysfunctional, if you want to share elements of shame that you struggle with in your life. I will share right now some of the ways that I've been carrying shame with me. And one is I'm afraid of what others will think of me. I struggle with not releasing my expression, not releasing who I am into the atmosphere, because I'm afraid of the possible negative reactions of others. And this is because of how I grew up. This is because I was taught to be ashamed of my expression. I was taught to be ashamed of my loudness and my vivaciousness and my dancing in public, and my loud laugh, and like all of these beautiful things when I would feel free to dance in public. And I struggle with, being afraid to feel how I feel. This is a huge one, because I was really shamed for my feelings. And I think that children experience a lot of shame when you're too anything, when you're too smart, too dumb, which is such a lie, too different, too loud, too emotional, too sensitive, too. And guys, there are no twos. You're not too anything. You're just perfect. You're just perfectly uniquely you. And so the fact that you're too much is just a lie, because Jesus created you And he said that you are good, that you're done, that you're holy, that you're perfected. That, so we don't need to be holding on to these lies of people that basically just couldn't handle us. So, haters, put some hater blockers on, because they're not going to dim your light anymore. They're not going to tell you that you have to be ashamed of who you are. They're not going to make you hide your identity because of their own embarrassment. See, because of their own lack of self-worth, their own uncomfortability with who they are in their essence, their own shame-based identity and guilt-laden thought processes in their inner child, they want to suppress you. They want to transfer that guilt or shame onto you and no, I don't receive that. I absolutely reject that in my life. Who will bring any charge against those who God has chosen? It is God who justifies. Who is he that condemns? Anyone that judges you, anyone that tries to condemn you, anyone that tries to criticize, moralize, tell you how to live your life, tell you that you're not doing it right, tell you that you shouldn't or you ought not, or you blah, 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 freaking blah. They have no right and they're out of line in that. And if God has proclaimed that I am good, if God has justified me, if God has redeemed me, I'm good to go, guys. And I can stand here, and I hope you can too, completely unashamed. Hope you like my video. If you like it, feel free to comment below. And if you're on YouTube right now, I would love for you to click subscribe to my channel and like the video if you like it. And again, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear about how this video has impacted your life in a positive way. Freedom, guys. Woo! Bye.